There is a reason why some people succeed and others don't. And it has nothing to do with luck, talent, or circumstances. It comes down to one powerful thing that is completely under your control right now, and that thing is discipline. Today, I will show you how to turn discipline into your most productive obsession, the fuel that can transform every area of your life. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I'm truly glad you decided to be here, because what we are about to share has the power to completely change your direction in life. I'm not talking about small improvements. I'm talking about a total transformation in the way you think, act, and produce results in your life. For decades, I've worked with millions of people around the world, and I discovered something fascinating. The most successful people, those who build empires, create wealth, live with purpose, and enjoy meaningful relationships, all share one common trait. They are not smarter. They were not born into perfect circumstances. They developed a healthy obsession with discipline. They learned to do what must be done, when it must be done, whether they feel like it or not. And that makes all the difference. You need to understand something important right now. Discipline is not a burden. It is not a restriction. Discipline is the master key that opens every door you want to open in your life. It is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. If you stay with me until the end, you will discover exactly how to turn discipline into your greatest ally, the habit that automatically pushes you toward everything you want to achieve. If this message connects with you and you feel ready to take the next step in your personal and professional growth, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment sharing your experience with discipline, and share your biggest challenge right now. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone struggling with focus, goals, or becoming the person they know they can be, share this video, because when you help others grow, you grow too. That is a universal law of success. Now let's start from the beginning. Let me ask you a question you may have never asked yourself seriously. What is discipline really? Most people get this completely wrong. They think discipline means restriction, sacrifice, and a boring, rigid life. Nothing could be further from the truth. Discipline is freedom. It is the ability to do what you know you must do in order to achieve what you want. It is taking control of your time, your energy, and your decisions instead of allowing external circumstances to control you. Think of it like driving a car. If you don't control the steering wheel, the brakes, and the accelerator, the car will go wherever outside forces push it. A bump here, a slope there, wind, gravity. You won't reach any specific destination, you'll just end up wherever you end up. But when you take control, when you decide where you're going and keep your hands firmly on the wheel, you can reach exactly where you want to go. That is discipline. It is conscious control of your life. Here's a truth most people never hear. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's not a special talent. It is a skill, a mental muscle that grows stronger with use. Every time you do what you know you should do, especially when you don't feel like it, that muscle gets stronger. Every time you give in to temptation, every time you delay what matters, that muscle gets weaker. It's that simple. The good news is this: it doesn't matter how weak your discipline is right now. It doesn't matter how many times you failed in the past, how many diets you quit, how many projects you left unfinished, or how many promises you broke to yourself. That is history. Your past does not define your future unless you allow it. From this exact moment, you can start strengthening your discipline muscle. You can begin building the version of yourself who follows through and succeeds. If this message is adding value to your life, subscribe now and keep training your mindset every day, and write in the comments the words, "Today I choose to be more disciplined." Saying it out loud is the first step. Now, if you want to build a healthy and powerful obsession with discipline, you must understand why it matters so much. You must connect emotionally with its value, because the truth is, you never do anything consistently unless you deeply believe it is worth it. Your mind needs a strong reason, a why that is bigger than momentary discomfort. Let me share something I learned many years ago. Your life today is the result of all the decisions you have made so far. Not your intentions, not your wishes, not your plans, but your decisions and your actions. If you are unhappy with any area of your life, your finances, your health, your relationships, or your career, it is because the decisions in that area have not taken you where you want to be. And that's okay. This is not judgment. It's simply information you can use to change direction. Discipline is what allows you to make better decisions consistently. It is what closes the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Because the truth is, we all know what to do. We know we should save money, exercise, eat healthy, work on our goals, and invest in our personal growth. Knowledge is not the problem. Execution is the problem, and execution requires discipline. Think about the most successful people you know or admire. Think about great leaders, entrepreneurs who build empires, elite athletes, and artists who master their craft. They all have one thing in common. They do things other people are not willing to do. They wake up earlier, work harder, persist when others quit, and stay focused when others get distracted. All of this is the result of discipline, a healthy obsession with doing the right thing at the right time. Here is something fascinating I want you to understand. Your brain is designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain in the short term. This is a survival mechanism we inherited from our ancestors. When humans lived in caves and faced constant danger, this system worked perfectly. But in the modern world, this same system can sabotage you. The things that give you immediate pleasure, like staying in bed an extra hour, eating that dessert, delaying a difficult project, or watching more television, pull you away from your long-term goals. And the things that create short-term discomfort, like waking up early, exercising, or working on an important but difficult task, are exactly the things that move you closer to your dreams. Discipline is the tool that allows you to reprogram this system. It is the ability to delay immediate gratification for a greater reward in the future. It is shifting your focus from momentary pleasure to lasting achievement. And when you develop this ability, when you become obsessed with it, your life changes dramatically. You begin to collect small wins day after day, and those small wins turn into massive results. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you decide to improve your health. You know you need to exercise for 30 minutes a day. On the first morning, when the alarm goes off, your brain tells you that you're tired, that it's cold, that you can start tomorrow. In that moment, you have a choice. You can listen to that voice and stay in bed, or you can use discipline, get up, and do the workout. When you choose discipline, two things happen. First, you strengthen your discipline muscle. Second, you move one step closer to your health goal. Tomorrow, it becomes a little easier. The next day, even easier. After 30 days, it no longer requires as much willpower. It becomes an automatic habit. And after 1 year, you are a completely different person, healthier, stronger, and more energetic, all because you made one disciplined decision and repeated it day after day. Now multiply this example across every area of your life. Your finances, your career, your relationships, your personal development. Every area improves when you apply consistent discipline. And here is the magic. You don't need to change everything at once. In fact, trying to change everything at the same time is a recipe for failure. What you need is to start with one thing, master it through discipline, and then expand that pattern into other areas. It works like a domino effect. One win builds confidence, and that confidence pushes you toward the next win. Let me share a fundamental principle I have taught for decades. It is called the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. In your work, 20% of what you do produces 80% of your income. In your health, 20% of your habits determine 80% of your well-being. The key to extraordinary success is identifying that critical 20% and becoming obsessed with executing it with discipline every single day. Most people are busy all day, but they are not productive. They do many things, but very few of those things truly matter. They get distracted by what is urgent and neglect what is important. At the end of the day, the month or the year, they wonder why they haven't moved forward. The answer is simple. They did not apply discipline to focus on what truly matters. Here is a question that can change your life if you answer it honestly and act on it. What is the most important activity you could do right now that would have the biggest positive impact on your life? Not what is urgent, not what is easy, not what is fun, but what is important. What moves you closer to your most meaningful goals? Identify that activity and commit to doing it first every day before anything else. That is discipline in action. That is effective management of your time and your energy. Once you identify that key activity, the task that truly moves the needle, the next step is to eliminate everything else that competes with it. And this is where most people fail. They want discipline, but they don't want to give up distractions. They want extraordinary results, but they continue living with ordinary habits. Real discipline means saying no. Saying no to what doesn't add value, no to what steals your time, no to what gives short-term pleasure but takes away your future. I want you to understand this clearly. Every time you say yes to something irrelevant, you are saying no to something important. Every time you check your phone without a real need, respond to messages without urgency, or distract yourself with things that don't move you closer to your goals, you are training your mind to be weak, to avoid effort, and to escape discomfort. And that training has consequences. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It is telling yourself, my time matters, my energy matters, my future matters. Highly disciplined people are not cold or rigid. They are people who take their life seriously. They understand that every day is a building block, and what they do today will inevitably shape who they become tomorrow. Let me tell you something that may feel uncomfortable, but it is absolutely true. No one is coming to save you. No one will magically show up and give you the life you want. No one will do the work for you. And instead of being bad news, this is liberating because it means the power is in your hands. It means that through discipline, you can become the conscious architect of your destiny. Now, many people confuse discipline with motivation, and this is a serious mistake. Motivation is emotional. It is unstable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired, and some days you don't. If you depend on motivation to act, you will be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the number one enemy of success. Discipline, on the other hand, does not depend on how you feel. It depends on decisions made in advance, decisions you make when you are calm, when you think clearly, and then execute even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is doing what you decided to do long after the mood you made the decision in has disappeared. That is why disciplined people don't ask themselves every day if they will do what needs to be done. They already decided. They don't negotiate with their mind. They don't argue with laziness. They act. And this ability to act without internal debate is one of the greatest competitive advantages you can develop. I want to share a simple but powerful tool with you. It is called advanced planning. Every night before you go to sleep, write down the 3 most important tasks you must complete the next day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. The ones that, if completed, would make the day feel successful. Then rank them by priority and commit to starting the next day with task number 1. When you wake up, don't check your phone, don't check emails, don't get lost in distractions. Go directly to that key task. This is known as eating the frog, a concept I have taught for many years. If you start your day with the hardest and most important task, the rest of the day becomes easier. You gain momentum, confidence, and clarity. Discipline does not come from constant effort. It comes from smart decisions made before the temptation to quit appears. I have learned that when you reduce friction between yourself and the right action, progress becomes natural. You don't need to fight your mind every day. You need to create conditions that automatically push you toward doing what you know is right. True personal mastery begins when you stop depending on mood and start depending on the conscious design of your life. Over the years, I have observed that the people who move forward the fastest are not the most motivated, but the most organized. They understand that the human mind seeks comfort and energy savings, and instead of fighting that, they use it to their advantage. When your environment is aligned with your goals, the right action becomes the easiest option. This is how discipline stops being a daily battle and becomes a steady flow of good decisions. Every small adjustment in your environment has a powerful impact on your behavior. Preparing your workout clothes the night before removes the morning excuse. Leaving a book visible invites effortless reading. Organizing your workspace reduces mental resistance to starting. These actions seem simple, but they are high-level strategies. Whoever masters the daily details also masters big results. I have found that willpower is a limited resource. It gets depleted when overused. That is why relying on it alone is a weak strategy. Instead, when you build systems that support you even on difficult days, you keep moving forward even when you don't feel like it. Long-term success doesn't depend on how you feel today, but on the systems you created yesterday. Successful people think in terms of processes, not impulses. They don't ask every morning whether they will do what needs to be done. They already decided in advance. That clarity frees mental energy, reduces stress, and increases consistency. When you know exactly what to do and your environment makes it easy, discipline becomes almost automatic. Another key principle is removing distractions before they appear. Every unnecessary interruption fragments your focus and weakens self-control. I have seen how a single decision, like turning off notifications or working in a clean space, can double productivity. Discipline isn't always about adding more effort. It's often about removing what gets in the way. When you align your environment with your values and goals, you start respecting yourself in a deep way. You send yourself the message that your time is valuable and your future matters. That self-respect strengthens internal confidence, and internal confidence translates into consistent action. This is how character is built, small decisions repeated each day. Sustained discipline is not about sacrifice, it is about applied intelligence. Designing your life to win is one of the most important skills you can develop. When working becomes easier than procrastinating, growth becomes inevitable. And when growth is inevitable, success stops being a wish and becomes a natural consequence. Now let's talk about something crucial. Self-discipline starts with emotional self-discipline. You cannot control the outside world, but you can learn to control your internal responses. When something doesn't go as expected, when you face frustration, rejection, or delay, you have two options: react impulsively or respond consciously. Discipline is in the conscious response. Every time you choose to stay calm, think before acting, and keep moving forward despite discomfort, you are developing extraordinary inner strength. That strength is invisible from the outside, but it shows in your results. Emotionally disciplined people move forward while others stop to complain, blame, or make excuses. And here is a powerful truth: success is not an event, it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It is built slowly, quietly, through repeated, disciplined actions. Most people quit just before the process starts producing results, not because they can't, but because they are unwilling to endure the discomfort of growth. Remember this: the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Every time you choose not to do what you know you should, you accumulate small regrets that grow heavy over time. Every time you choose discipline, even when it is hard, you invest in a life of pride, peace, and self-respect. Discipline is a direct source of mental clarity. I have seen again and again that when a person acts consistently, their mind stops scattering and begins to organize naturally. Confusion does not come from lack of ability, but from lack of aligned action. When you know you are doing what you should, internal noise disappears, and a deep sense of direction and control emerges. Anxiety, in most cases, doesn't come from too many responsibilities, but from avoiding them. Every postponed task becomes an invisible burden that occupies mental space. When you act with discipline, even in small actions, your mind is freed. You feel the calm that comes from knowing you are moving forward, step by step, instead of staying stuck waiting for the perfect moment. Stress also decreases when you take control of your decisions. It is not hard work that wears you out. It is the constant avoidance of what matters. Discipline puts you back at the helm of your life. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you begin to respond intentionally. That sense of control reduces internal pressure and allows you to think more clearly and objectively. As you act with discipline, something essential starts to strengthen: self-confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your identity changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries, but as someone who does. That positive self-image is built on facts, not words, and becomes a solid foundation for achieving any goal. Most people seek confidence by expecting external results, but true confidence is built internally. It is built when you prove to yourself day after day that you can rely on yourself. Even the smallest commitments have a huge impact. Getting up at the time you decided, completing a simple task, maintaining a minimal habit. Each of these actions reinforces your personal credibility. And here is an unavoidable truth: if you don't trust yourself, the world won't either. People consciously or unconsciously sense the level of internal consistency you have. When they see you act consistently, speak clearly, and keep your promises, they trust you. That external trust is just a reflection of the internal discipline you have cultivated. I have learned that lasting success does not start with heroic decisions, but with small actions executed well. Daily discipline eliminates doubt, reduces fear, and strengthens character. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. Your consistent behavior does it for you. This is how a solid reputation is built, first with yourself and then with others. When discipline becomes a habit, everything changes. Your mind clears, your emotions stabilize, and your path becomes obvious. You no longer depend on external approval or fluctuating moods. You trust yourself because you have proof. And when that trust is present, growth, opportunities, and results begin to appear naturally. You don't need to do heroic things. You need to do simple things consistently. Get up when you said you would, work when you said you would, move forward even when no one is watching. That is where character is formed. That is where true greatness is born. Now, I want to ask you one more important thing. If this message is giving you clarity, if you feel something inside you being activated, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment saying, "Today I choose to be more disciplined." Because when you declare a decision out loud, when you write it down, you make it more real. And every time you return to this video and see your own comment, you will remember the commitment you made to yourself. We are reaching a powerful conclusion. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It is the ability to choose your future instead of leaving it to chance. It is daily proof that you respect yourself, that you believe in your potential, and that you are willing to do what it takes to become the best version of yourself. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not when you have more time. Start today with one single disciplined action. Do it well, repeat it tomorrow and the next day, and watch as little by little your identity changes. You will no longer be someone who tries. You will be someone who does. And when you look back a year from now, you will realize something extraordinary. It wasn't a big stroke of luck that changed your life. It was a simple decision repeated every day. It was discipline turned into a habit. It was the right obsession. Always remember this. You are far more capable than you believe, and discipline is the path that reveals that capability to the world.